What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I am back to answer a question that a bunch of you have asked me, and that I was fairly sure I knew the answer to, but I wasn't 100% sure. Well, the good news is, ladies and gentlemen, we do now have the answer. You see, if we look at some of these recent Digimon cards I've shown you, like the Systemon Blank and Noir that I showed you the other day, or the cards that I've been showing you from the starter decks, like, for instance, the reprint of Monzaemon that's coming out in Starter Deck 8, you will notice that there's something there on these newer cards that hasn't been there up to and including BT5. I don't think it was in BT5 anyway. And what we've got here is underneath the set number, so for Systemon Blanc Noir, we're talking BT6084, there is a little box with 01 written in it. And this has raised a bunch of questions from a bunch of people, basically going, well, hang on a second, Wassy, what's all that about? Well, the answer is, well, good news is, they've tweeted out about it. They've told us, ladies and gentlemen, Bandai have done gun and told us. You see, they sent out a tweet and they said this: a new block icon has been added to cards that will be released or distributed at events after April the 1st, 2021. There are no plans to operate it in the near future, but we hope to be able to hold various regulation competitions that utilize this in the future. It's a regulation mark. And if you are playing the Pokemon trading card game, this is something that you probably will be fairly familiar with. In the Sword and Shield era of the Pokemon trading card game that started just over a year ago, they've started adding regulation marks. Now, we started with regulation mark D because Japan got there earlier than we did, but this is a very similar thing indeed. Essentially, what it does is it sets cards down into blocks. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, hang on a second, doesn't that create some issues? No. No, it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't create any issues is because, essentially, any cards that don't have regulation marks have regulation mark 00. Simple as that. So even though not every card technically has these printed on them, they actually kind of do, because if it doesn't have one, we read it as 00. And essentially, what this allows Bandai and the Digimon team to do is to run tournaments with different legalities. So they could run a tournament which was essentially block 01 onwards, which meant any cards that had 01, 02, 03, and so on would all be legal in this particular tournament, and all others wouldn't be. So essentially, it would be a way of running a tournament that was BT6 onwards. So all the cards from BT1 to BT5 would be illegal for that particular tournament, and we would go forward with other cards. You know, at the moment, over in Japan, I have shown you one deck list. I could have shown you a million, but I thought that might get a little boring. And we've mentioned it in some other deck list videos. Lord Nightmon is absolutely crushing. Lord Nightmon at the moment over in Japan is your best deck in the format. If you were playing in the Booster 1.0 format, you will have seen that, you know, the two best decks are Red Omnimon and Blue Omnimon. Well, there comes a point where people get a little bit bored of that, where people over here don't want to play against Omnimon over and over and over, and where people don't want to play against Lord Nightmon over and over and over. And we did see something happening to try and fix this in the not too distant future. You see, we had our very first ever restricted cards. The level 5 Argamon from BT2 and Hidden Potential Discovered from BT3. They were put into the restricted cards list. Now, I did a video all about it. I'll try and remember to link it in the description. But basically, they became limited to one copy in your deck. Now, Argamon here, it's got Digisorption -3, so you can rest one of your Digimon and Digivolve into it for nothing. And it's got an inheritable skill that lets you play a level 3 green Digimon without paying for it when you attack. Now, it's not the end of the world. Remember, you do have Blossomon, which also has Digisorption -3. It just doesn't have the inheritable skill, and that is not restricted. And then we've got Hidden Potential discovered that let you rest one of your green Digimons to reduce an evolution cost by 5. So you could do ridiculous things like Digivolve into Ceresmon without paying the cost, which ended up being a little bit too good. So we restricted them. We put them to one card, one copy in your deck. Well, this is a very similar kind of thing. What Digimon are doing is giving themselves the option here of going, you know what, for this particular tournament, we're going to make sure that you can only use cards with Regulation Mark 01 onwards. So everyone's bored of playing against Lord Nightmon? Great. Lord Nightmon doesn't have a Regulation Mark, so it's not valid for play in this particular tournament. And the thing is, they can keep going. So we're a couple years down the line, we're up to Regulation Mark 4, and this basically gives us 5 different options. Play with any cards, 1 onwards, 2 onwards, 3 onwards, 4 onwards. It gives us 5 different formats at the drop of a hat that we can run tournaments in. And that's really cool. Of course, if Digimon really want to get tricksy, and it's not generally the way card companies tend to go, but there's nothing to stop them doing it, what they could do instead was go, for this tournament, all regulation marks except for 2 and 4 are legal. And then they can go from there. And this is good. And we should all be delighted about this, incidentally, because this tells us, this plus the restricted list tells us absolutely, without question, that Bandai are thinking. And Bandai are trying to make the competitive game better. Bandai are going out of their way to try and make sure that the game is fun and interesting. They are building mechanisms into the game with the restricted list, with these regulation marks. They are basically saying, look, we are giving ourselves options so that in the future we can turn around at the drop of the hat and make the game more fun. If at any point players are getting really frustrated with the state of the metagame, we can fix it like that. And what that tells us is that Bandai genuinely care about the game. And I know at times I'm a little bit too positive. I know it's really trendy at the moment to make videos about the biggest problems with the game. And look, I have addressed problems on this particular channel because I do think there are a few things that are problematic. I have made some of those videos. Only when I thought I really needed to. But I think it's time to get a little bit cheery, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, because Bandai are showing us absolutely, without question, that they are paying attention, that they care about the competitive side of the game, and they are doing what they can to keep it enjoyable. We should all be delighted about this. Now, of course, this does lead to the big question of, will there be rotations? Because I showed you that regulation mark thing from Pokemon. Well, as it stands at the moment, it is overwhelmingly likely that in late August, early September this year, we are going to be rotating to Sword and Shield onwards. What that means is that any set from Sword and Shield or later will be legal for tournament play, and all the other sets won't. Which means they're cutting 4 sets or a year's worth of releases from the metagame. And Pokemon do this every year. Every year they release a year's worth of cards and they cut a year's worth of cards. There is an expanded format which goes back to black and white. So we're heading back to, I want to say 2011. But that is very, very much, it's a secondary format, all right? It's not the same. And the big tournaments, World Championships, etc. aren't running it. In Europe, almost nothing's running it. There are a few regionals running it in the US, but that is about it. So my point here is they could do that. They could go, right, from now on, all the cards in Block 1 are gone. Block 2 onwards is legal. And then maybe there is a secondary format where everything's legal. If we go back to the tweet, Bandai have said there are no plans to operate it in the near future, but we hope to be able to hold various regulation competitions that utilize it in the future. I.e., what they're saying is, we are not planning on actually doing a proper rotation. What we are potentially going to do is run some tournaments in different formats, which I think is a really nice way round to do it. Obviously, this opens us up to rotation, and what I will say to you is, if Bandai do a rotation, let's have a little bit of faith in them, shall we? Because if you look at the expanded format in Pokemon, they keep having to ban cards, because when you've got years and years worth of cards, people make broken combos pretty regularly. And there have been giant tournaments over in Japan that have basically come down to who wins the coin flip, because outside of that, there's not really any variance, because all the top players are playing the same deck, and it just depends on who wins the coin flip. So if it happens, it happens. For now, it's not looking like it. But this is wonderful news, because it means that we can have different format tournaments, which means that decks which are gone and aren't good anymore actually might all of a sudden be good in other formats. It means as players and deck builders, we can challenge ourselves. And here's the thing. If you only want to play with every set legal, just ignore these alternate format tournaments and you'll be fine. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know your opinion. I want to know if you're excited about these alternate format tournaments or whether you're a little bit worried about things rotating in the future. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.